My friends, morning. Henry and I have a long day in front of us. We have a lot of production coming up this afternoon and going into this evening. So this morning, we're going to play some poker. We had kind of a tough morning, Henry did. I don't know if you can hear him wheezing. You okay, buddy? Collapsing trachea issue. Sometimes it gets worse than others. And they'll just do this sort of guttural, honking cough. It just sounds like his lungs are going to come out of his mouth. It breaks my heart. And, yeah, you okay? And he'll just cough and cough and cough, and all you can do is manage the symptoms, really. I have this fear that that's how we're going to lose him. What if he gets to the point where, he's not able to recover? And they do a stint. There's a specialist in town where if they get to the point where they say the dog is in extreme distress, that's the word they use, distress, which means he's coughing his lungs out and he won't stop, that they'll knock him out and put a tiny stent down into the trachea. But even that won't guarantee that they aren't, going to continue to cough. Maybe the trachea stent causes another issue, So this morning we had kind of a tough morning, and we did a steroid treatment, and now I think he's tired from coughing. So he's in my lap. He's going to play poker with us this morning while we just kind of start the day together. Is that okay, buddy? He could probably fall asleep right here if I just kept stroking his shoulders. You can rub his tummy with 2 fingers. You can rub his whole tummy with 2 fingers, and he'll just lay on his back, and he'll stick his legs straight up in the air. By the way, speaking of pets, before we get started, there is a brilliant and just wonderful gem of a show on Animal Planet called Amanda to the Rescue. I can't watch a lot of animal rescue shows. Like there used to be a broadcast called Animal Precinct. And these law enforcement officers would go out and rescue animals who had been abandoned, mistreated. I got to the point where I couldn't watch it. I was either like in tears or pissed off, or you just... One example of the kind of stuff they would show every week. Somebody left like 8 Dobermans, I think it was. They were black. The dogs were black and had a Doberman kind of build. Left him on the top of a roof in the heat of the summer. And some of them had died of dehydration and heat stroke. One had actually, his body had melted into the tar that was laid on the top of the roof. It was just horrible. And it was just... I'm so glad for the advocates for these animals, but at the same time, I'm like, who could do that? And Amanda to the Rescue is a little bit that way. They'll talk about where these abandoned dogs came from or why they're at the shelter. Somebody dropped a dog off at the dump with a bag of dog food. How does that happen? Somebody drove by the shelter and threw the dog out in the parking lot and sped away. How does this happen? There was a story, I think it in Oklahoma, where somebody had put a dog in a garbage bag and thrown it out into like a wooded area, and the dog was found inside this garbage bag and rescued. And it hurts. I mean, it hurts the heart to think that how does someone get to that point when they could do something so awful? If you can't take care of it, rehome it, put an ad in the paper, or social media, do something, But, and the one thing that gives me hope is that people like Amanda and the rescue team that she has will go out and they'll find homes for them. Often these dogs are hugely disabled, and yet they're amazingly resilient. I'm going to put you down, buddy. Henry. I've got a little blanket in my lap so he can sleep. They've got a boxer everybody was going to put the boxer down. His name is Duncan. And he had some sort of a problem with his pelvis area where he wouldn't be able to use his back legs, and they were worried about digestion, and it was just too complicated. And they just didn't give up on him. And they had his entire, the entire back half of the dog, they had it amputated. All right, so you have a boxer, a perfectly healthy looking boxer, all the way down to the end of the stomach. And then the dog just kind of stops, and he walks on two legs. He sticks his ass, or what would have been his ass, up in the air, and he walks around on two legs, and he is amazing. He has no idea that he is disabled. And he has become like this internet sensation. He's go and YouTube or Facebook search or Google search Duncan Luhu, Louwho, or Duncan Amanda to the rescue. It'll pop right up, and you'll see videos of Duncan the boxer with two legs, who I just want to scoop up and take home with me every time I see him. And the whole show is about these animals receiving compassion and goodness. And Amanda herself is a beautiful human being. And I don't really sense that it's a manufactured television goodness. Like, she's good because she has a good editor. I really am convinced that she is someone who has transcended the medium. She is good to her core. And that goodness is contagious. And so when you watch the show, you find yourself smiling. You find yourself, oh, look at the puppies, They're dogs who can't see and hear, and yet somehow, without eyes and ears, they're able to have I shit you not, a wonderful life. They have love and touch, and their other senses are compensating for their lack of vision or whatever, and they just make it work. And instead of being given up on, somebody gave them a second chance. Henry is my second chance story. He was being bred, this little bitty dog is being bred so that somebody could have small dogs. They wanted to sell small dogs. We learned after the fact how bad this is for the dogs, breeding down for cute factor, like rat dog. We didn't know. Natalie had toots before we got together, but the whole concept of breeding down to a size where it's not healthy for the dog. Their teeth don't grow right. They often won't attach to the jaw. They have joint problems because both of these dogs have problems with their joints because the I don't know what a vet would call it, but like where the kneecap rests, there's a little sort of is it concave or convex that goes in? I think it's convex that goes in. It's so shallow that the kneecap just pops out. And like rat dog, when we go out front, I'll take her out front. It's really cute, but it's also a little bit sad. We'll go out front. Hey, you want to go outside? You want to go out front? And we'll go get the mail or something, and she'll go do her business. And I can tell that leg, the left back leg, pops out. And we have sort of trained her to know, like when she's having trouble walking, all of a sudden, I'll say, "You need me to fix your leg?" And she'll turn. She'll just kind of pivot, knowing that I'm coming, and she'll wait for me. And I come back to her, and I would just rub on the hip in the leg area, and you can feel the joint pop back into place. And then she's good. We asked the vet about it. He's like, you know what? If it's not causing her pain, I wouldn't do surgery. We've already had one surgery. It was really rough. But the vet's like, if it's not bothering her, just keep an eye on her. And if it pops out, just pop it back into place. But that's the kind of stuff that happens. So you start breeding for the buyer instead of breeding for the benefit of the dog. And before you know it, you've got all kinds of health problems. I would rescue any size dog, probably, except for a Dane. I've had them. It's too much dog, too big. I did it for 10 years, 11 years. But, the idea of breeding for these small sizes is it's hard. And it's been hard on Henry. It's one of the reasons he has a collapsing trachea. It's a common problem in these sort of designer small dogs, and it causes them to choke and hack and cough and wheeze. and you get to a point when you can just manage the symptoms. We estimate his age to be about 12-ish years old. I'd sure like to have him for another few years. But when I see him, heaving and his whole body is sort of contorting and he's trying to get those coughs out and trying to breathe, I have those conversations in my mind where I think I might need to prepare myself. I told Natalie, I don't think I can do it. I know I can do it, but I don't know if I can do it. And so then I find myself even more attentive to him. I pick him up and I hold him and he sits on my lap and sleeps here on my neck, at night. And I just try to cherish the moments. And I hope it's years. I hope we have years of moments left. So anyway, I didn't mean to get morose on you. I just that's what's been going on my mind. I've been playing a game. Actually, I used to play this on my phone. I've been playing on my laptop because desktop's being replaced. The laptop doesn't run anything but a PowerPoint, especially if you're streaming. And so I've been playing poker. I'm not a great poker. In fact, I'm a shit poker player. But I've been playing the governor of poker. And it's an amusing game. So if you'd like to play along with me, I guess we'll go to the Poker Shack. And you can mock me as I get my ass kicked. Whoa! Let's turn that down just a little bit. And I'm not able to hear well in this. These aren't monitor headphones, so you tell me if it's too loud or not loud enough. Oh shit! I should have checked. Sorry. Sound effects. I want them to be. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, that's what Natalie said. He said. Turn this down. When here's what Amanda had done on the show, and don't mock me. She had a little dog called Inky. Inky was, I think, was Inky blind or paralyzed? I got nothing here. Blind or paralyzed, and you can't really see the. Let me move my. Is that better? That's better. But Inky only lived like 9 months. And when Inky passed away, he used to sleep on her neck. And Amanda had Inky, like a tattoo of Inky right here, and it said, oh God, what was the quote? Let's see, if you had lived on love, you would have lived forever, or something like that. And she actually had some of Inky's ashes blended into the tattoo ink, and so she always had Inky sort of right here on her neck, under the collar. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, and so yeah, it's important to stay positive. I think, oh, looky. It's important to pair of nines. I'll take that. That ace kicker. Here comes oh, yes, 2 pair. I'll call that. Oh, full house. I love you so. Let's raise. Half. Yeah, you want to go? You got the stuff? You got it? You think about it. Oh, that's good. That was good for me. Was that good for you? He could have spent the rest of his life in a little cage with 103 dogs in a single wide mobile home. He could have, essentially been a prisoner for his entire life. And so I have to try to focus on the happy ending in the last 4.5 years. If you want to see his story, go to YouTube and Google Saving Number 90. It's a video about him and his rescue. I'll bet 2 pair. Plus, now Fanatic's scared because I just kicked his ass. Oh, shit. All right. You want to go? Yeah. You dance with the Reaper, baby. I'll never buy a dog ever again. I'll always rescue. Forever. I think I'll always have animals. I don't know. What's your take on it? Can you help me gauge the sound? Is it overwhelming what I'm saying, or can you barely hear it? Can you give me a barometer of kind of what the mix sounds like? Because again, I'm not able to really hear. It's loud in my head, so. Is it just 2 of us left? Is that right? Or were there 2 of us to begin with? Pair of 6s. Any of you play poker? Online or for real? Shit, if he's got a 3, there's a straight. He's going to try to suck me in. Pair of 6s. This is where they... So how much bank does Fanatic have? 2,500? We can break them pretty quick. Never mind. This is a game called Governor of Poker. Actually, Governor of Poker 3. Poker games are kind of hit and miss. I had tried one yesterday, but I didn't really care much for the interface. But I had played Governor of Poker on my phone a long time ago. It was actually a lot of fun. It came well reviewed, and it's a lot of mindless games, the kind of stuff you play on an airplane. Oh, pocket aces. Oh, you're going away, pal. You're going away. Come on. Come on. Come on. Jump in there. Oh. I scared him off. Well, shit. Anyway, Governor of Poker, it's a different twist on poker. I'll come back to full screen while we wait, or I'll change rooms. It is a game where you start out in a specific town, and you actually walk to these different buildings or shacks where, oh, look. Where you play rounds, and you actually knock people out, and then you win the table, and you get experience, and you get money, and you get all these types of things, and then you become a more experienced player, which means you get to enter tournaments, and there's a real depth to the game that's a lot of fun. Plus, it's got kind of a sense of humor. It's a play on the old, saloon poker games where all these people in cowboy hats and whatnot all sit around and try to outdo each other. I tried playing for cash just a few times. I had a buddy of mine say, you can play for real money at Full Tilt or whatever they call it. This was, God, how many years ago? And then I think it became illegal for a while, and now it's back. But you could play for real money. And I did it for about 15 minutes, and I couldn't relax. It was like this is too much pressure, and it doesn't feel real enough. I need the cash in my hands. So I'd rather play with virtual bogus chips, money, resources. I don't want the pressure. I don't want the pressure. It was either do this or read Trump tweets this morning, and I just couldn't do it. Did you see that tweet where he was talking about the smocking gun? It's a smocking gun. That's awesome. Rex Tillerson had recently done that interview, and this was also a big part of Bob Woodward's book called Fear, about the Trump administration. And they said that Trump does not read. They bring him the daily briefings, the summaries of what's happening, the shit. Can I find another room? All right, let me focus on you here. New saloon unlocked, Horseshoe Arena. Buy in 10,000, play high blinds with a short stack, 35K first prize. That sounds like a party. Let's do that here in a minute. So anyway, I was reading Bob Woodward's book, Fear, and it talked about just the chaos inside the Trump White House and how Trump will show up late, and he spends an inordinate amount of his time watching television. He just watches TV to hear what people are saying, mostly about him, and then he launches into a tirade and loses his mind and one. And I think what we're talking about is someone who is functionally illiterate, or borderline functionally illiterate. I mean, you can understand what he's trying to say, but this is not someone who has in any way mastered language. And it's interesting to hear people talk about Trump as this great charismatic communicator, because if you hear him speak, as a communicator myself, I find it's, first of all, he's got that thing. He does that thing with the one hand. He's always doing this. Watch him. Anyone who imitates Trump or does an impersonation of Trump will have that. China, right? And then he speaks in these sort of punctuations. There are whole websites devoted to Trump-isms, these little bursts, these short phrases that he just goes back to time and again. He's a great guy. Oh God, I'm trying to think of, what? I got a second. Let me look it up. Let us Google Trump-isms. Oh, there's a wiki? Oh my God. There's a board game? Trump-isms 2018. It's a calendar? I'm looking for a web page here. Hang on just a second. No, this will be fun. And it's something to do before I jump into the production schedule today. It's going to be huge. They love me. It's fantastic. Total sleaze bag. A lot of money. Believe me. The incredible men and women. Let me read a few more. Now I'm interested. Oh, there's a calendar. Or not a calendar, a poster. Let me image search it very quickly. Oh, God, yeah, there's a poster here. It's massive. Just quotes. It's too small for my eyes to read. Okay, hang on. Thank you for being patient with me, my friends. Here we go. Yeah. I am the least racist. Oh, these are actual quotes. I'm the least racist person that you've ever met. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. Okay, these are just quotes. The beauty of me is that I'm very rich. Let me tell you, I'm a really smart guy. The concept of global warming was created by the Chinese. That's a favorite. That's a favorite. Chinese conspiracy. Of course, Trump was behind the Barack Obama birth certificate. He's not a real American kind of thing. He gets a pass. Everybody's going to give him a pass. Didn't make any difference. Poker Stars was the other one. Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. All right, well, let's find a table and wipe somebody out. Let's go to Horseshoe Arena and play for $35,000. Hell no, I'm not going to invite online friends. They're going to be able to see my cards. Ali Rizvi, I usually see you in the mornings, which makes me wonder if you work like a late shift. I know you're a physician, right? Or are you like in the theater of surgery, and on one of the monitors you have Facebook, scalpel, clamp, and then you look up and say, call that, Seth. Raise. Jack Ace raise. I'll call that. Jack high. Pair of jacks. Shit. I just went from thousands to $40. I needed Ali Rizvi to tell me to fold. That's what I needed. Shit. Daddy needs a big win to get back in the game. You know what they're going to make me do? If I go bankrupt, they're going to make me go buy tokens to go play. That's why the game is free. I'll bet. Pair of aces. Possible flush draw. And there's the flush. Oh, look at that. 15,000 chips for 99 cents. I don't want to buy my chips. Oh, look, I've got 16 grand. Okay. All right. I panicked for no reason. Sorry. Ali Rizvi is one of my favorite activists out there right now. Part of the Secular Jihadists podcast. I appreciate the fact that Ali and Armin Navabi and in fact so many of my the people I've interviewed here in the last year are tireless and fearless critics of Islam as an idea. Most importantly, I think they're going after this weird progressive notion that criticizing Islam or even Muslims for holding to Islam is a type of phobia, Islamophobia, racism, as if Islam is a race. I'm amazed at how many people who consider themselves enlightened thinkers continue to defer to what I consider to be the single most dangerous religious power influence idea on the planet today? Islam. I mean, Christianity does so much damage, but it's a different type of damage in some ways. It's right now the most radical of the religions. We have these theocratic regimes. You know, tell me why apostasy from Islam is a death sentence in places like Saudi Arabia. I think Jordan, Pakistan, Iran, you know, there's a reason for that. And it's because of the radical nature of fundamentalist Islam. And it's not phobic to point that out. It's not racist to say that Islam is a shitty idea. It's time to walk away, time to put it away, time to call it out. You know, you can be Middle Eastern, you can be of Arab descent, you can be white, you can be black, you can be Mexican, you can be Asian, you can be whatever, and hold to the idea of Islam. And Ali Rizvi and so many of those folks are, you know, they're out there doing exactly that. I'm a big fan of Faisal Saeed Al-Mutar. He and Melissa Chen are working with an organization called Ideas Beyond Borders, and they've got an amazing idea. Talk about ideas. What happens when a place like Saudi Arabia, Iran, whatever, makes illegal free thought materials? 9, 10, jack. I need an 8 or a king for the straight. Sorry. I need an 8 or a king for the straight. Oh, shit, did I fold? This is why I don't multitask. So, you know, they're burning books, they're banning books, they're policing thought, right? They're policing ideas. Well, fold. What happens when, you know, these people have an underground and they're able to find access to the internet and they're able to get through whatever blockades or firewalls or whatever that these governments are putting up? And Ideas Beyond Borders provides free thought content, science content, the science of evolution, the science of cosmology, philosophy, you know, books about ideas and the liberation of the mind. And they make those books available digitally via the internet in Arabic. And that's exactly what they're doing at Ideas Beyond Borders. They're making these books free, available, I think, to download on the internet in Arabic, in these languages that define these theocratic countries. And I think, what an amazing idea, right? What an amazing and important work. That's why I always encourage people, you know, support these types of efforts, whether it's Ideas Beyond Borders or the Council of Ex-Muslims or Ex-Muslims of North America, or the work that secular jihadists are doing to try to get the word out on their shows and site. Ace 2 suited. I'd like to see the flop, so we're going to play. Oh, baby. Give me a diamond. Diamonds are an atheist's best friend. Give me a diamond. I'm willing to call that just to wait for the river. Don't you re-raise, you mother. Shit. I got nothing. Brutal. Brutal. How do I play the mission? Okay. I had somebody on YouTube. This was last week, the week before. And I don't read much in the way of YouTube comment sections because YouTube comment sections are like radiation. Like they emit a damaging beam that goes through your eye sockets into your brain and kills brain cells. It diminishes your ability to think. It's monumentally frustrating. I shouldn't play a Jack 6 suited, but I will. Five, six. I got nothing. And somebody in the YouTube, and this is what happens. You talk about Christianity, and they go, "Why won't you talk about Islam, you coward?" And of course, if I go on The Thinking Atheist and we talk about Islam, they say, "Yeah, but what about Christianity, which is just as bad?" This is a knee jerk that people have. There's somebody on YouTube I posted. I forgot which clip it was. It may have been the speech I gave in Orlando, or it may have been the one about the changing faces of Jesus and how Jesus looks different in different cultures. And the first reaction is, "Well, why won't you ever talk about Islam, you coward?" And so I'm just like, well, okay. The last video that I produced was with Mohammed El-Qadra, who was a former Islamist who escaped Jordan, fearing for his life because he was an apostate and now is a human rights advocate for people all around the world. That's the last video that I produced. You can check my interviews and featured work and podcast with people like Ali Rizvi, Armin Nababi, Faisal Saeed Al-Muhtar, Yaman Muhammad, Sarah Hayder, so many others. All you have to do is look. This kind of monumentally lazy thinking, people only see the last 5 minutes of what you've done, and then they make a value judgment. They have no idea what they're talking about. Then what's up with all the whataboutery anyway? Right now, at this moment, we're talking about X. It's like when you bring up something on social media and you want to talk about it. Pair of sixes, still a pair of sixes. And forgive the occasional derailing into the table. People drag their pet causes. They drag their pet causes into any conversation. So if somebody's got the bug up their ass about feminists or some radical feminist, you can be talking politics or Christianity or... you can be talking about the guy who went to the North Sentinel Islands and got arrowed to death. You can talk about anything, and somebody will immediately make it about their pet cause. Well, if it wasn't, this is just as bad as radical feminism. You just look at him and go, "Excuse me? What are you talking about?" SJW, he must have been an SJW. Social justice warrior. And it's an awkward segue into, whatever it is they drug into the room. And this happens everywhere we go. I mean, I think we're probably all guilty of having the fires in our belly and the things we're most passionate about, the things we really want to talk about. But, it's so awkwardly shoehorned into unrelated discussions. I have to shake my head sometimes. Are we talking about social justice issues? Are we talking about, well, he must have been part of the identity politics crowd. Excuse me? What are you talking about? We're talking about an Oral Roberts University graduate who was so brainwashed that he felt like he had to travel across the world to take a magical message to people who really didn't want it, and he paid for it with his life. And I have sympathy for him as someone who was brainwashed, but to think that the day before he'd been near the shores of the island and had experienced the arrows flying at him, now, no one would show up the following day holding a Bible and have the nerve to act surprised. But you tell that story, or you talk about Raif Badawi, or you speak about Donald Trump, or you talk about, what's another story that's been in the news recently? You talk about the nuns. You hear about those two nuns who stole like $500,000 from a school they were teaching in. And they went to Vegas with it. They went to Vegas. I just picture these two nuns incognito, right? They're not going in their nun outfit. Right? Oh, I didn't even get to experience the joy of that win because I was telling a story. Okay, I'll finish the story. These two women go to would you play a 3 ace? That ace, that's how they get you. They say play your hand, don't play the deck. Is that right? I've heard play the player, don't play your hand. But I like play your hand, not play the deck, meaning don't try to play what you... Because I can't count. Oh, fuck! I would have had trip threes. No, I would have had a full house. Son of a bitch. That is crap advice. Play the deck. Oh, God. I was inches from greatness. Between the podcast, live streams, book writing, maintaining, how do I have time? Philip, I've decided to make time. I have decided that in April, it will be 10 years of The Thinking Atheist. I've decided that 10 years of doing almost all of it. When we did the Unholy Trinity tour, that was just an idea that I had, right? Well, this is what happens when a guy who works for himself, by himself, has an idea. I was able to work with the local free thought groups, and then the Australia version of the tour, we worked heavily with them. They did a tremendous amount of the legwork. But on my end, I did everything. I did the promotions. I did... when we went to Australia, I hauled a 3-camera rig and tripods and the whole shooting match down to and through the east coast of Australia to document. I shot video in all 3 cities that we spoke in, brought them back, edited the pieces, and posted them for the YouTube audience. And when you do everything all by yourself all the time in that way, and the free thought local groups helped to organize and set the venues up. They were critical. They were indispensable. But as far as producing it for the online audience and organizing it on this end, it just takes so much time. I have a podcast coming up where we are going through all the biggest and best stories of the last year. In the past, I would have Susie Box helped me produce it last year, but in the past I've done all the research myself. And I just won't. I just can't anymore. In order to grow, you have to delegate. I'm going to be delegating more of the social media. I'll still be here and doing what I do and maintaining the temperature of the Thinking Atheist, but I'm unable to maintain. I've decided that I have to have time for the recreation, for the bubble gum for the brain, for just not working, not activisting. And so, and here I am, I work from home, I work by myself, it's just me and the dogs. This is a way to, in some way, connect socially with people without actually leaving the house. I'm not connected here. I can't go over to my neighbor's house and do this kind of stuff. So this is a way for me to connect with my online family, to have some interaction and to, just do what I do without any pressure, without a hard deadline, without the expectation that I need to all in. Hang on, let me finish this. Oh, that's right. Yeah, nobody pushes daddy around. Nobody pushes daddy around, except for the guy who got me to fold on a full house. He pushed me around. And I'm rambling a little bit. I'm so sorry. I've decided I need to take a little more time to be able to relax. I guess that's the best way to say it. And it's hard. It's hard for activists. I talk to people who activist all the time. So they're often juggling day jobs. They're often juggling their lives and families and responsibilities and bills and everything else. And Parrot Kings is all I got. Oh, that was blind luck. Blind luck. Balance is hard for activists. It's certainly hard for me. And so I just decided here, and it's the month of December. It's a holiday month. I've got this week's show ready to rock and roll. I'm talking to Aaron Ra about the pagan origins of many of our Christmas traditions, and Aaron's always a joy to have on the radio anyway. That releases first thing in the morning. My patrons have it already commercial-free at patreon.com/Seth Andrews. And thanks for your support. Next week's show, I'm already making some phone calls for. This is fun. I had people nominate people who had a specific need. And so when they're available, when I know I can get a hold of them, I surprise them with a phone call. And they have, a hospital bill or a car repair bill or some sort of a life event that has really kicked them in the ass. Trip Aces, come on. Can I raise? Oh, it's too late. And I called them up. Hi, you don't know me. My name is Seth, and I heard you had some trouble. And then they talk a little bit about the trouble they've had. And then we help solve the problem. I mean, we can't always solve the entire problem, but sometimes we're able to make a big dent in it. And it's amazing because, I really do hold to that idea that there are no little things. There are no little things. It is amazing what the smallest of gestures can do to improve someone's world. Whether it's a kind word and a compliment, which sounds totally bogus, and people will often sort of poo-poo that idea away. But just, hey, I love you, or hey, you are an important part of my life, or just say something affirming to someone. Buy them a coffee, for Pete's sake, do something. Small. There are no little things. The gesture itself is, it's a statement. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I got it straight. Oh, let's go, baby. Player 765. I got $5,000. I need to break him. I'm going to wear him down. Not with a 10-2. Oh, the nun story. Thank you. I'll come back to you, Charles. 2 nuns. Let me pull it up. I wish there were more than 2 players in this room. I mean, I think I have to break him to be able to win the challenge. Nuns Vegas. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Bold. For nearly 28 years, Sister Margaret Kruper was the principal of St. James Catholic School in Torrance, California, a coastal suburb southwest of Los Angeles. I won. Oh, I won? Around the same time that Kruper announced she was retiring earlier this year, the family at the school asked for a copy of an old check they'd written to St. James. When staff members found the check, the Long Beach Press-Telegram reported they realized it had not been deposited into St. James's account, but a different bank account. That was among the first clues that would unravel a vast fraud that was allegedly conducted by Kruper and Sister Lana Chang, another nun and longtime St. James teacher. School officials recently told parents the 2 nuns had stolen about $500,000 from the school. The school said the 2 women, reportedly best friends, used the money for trips and casino visits. The revelations came as a shock to parents and church members. Of course, my first question is, how in the world does God not tap somebody on the shoulder? This is God's house. This is God's money. How do people not? How does God not tap everybody on the shoulder and say, "Hey, look, they're stealing my bank. They're going down and playing it at the tables. They're playing craps with God's money." How does He not do that? I think that's a valid question. The revelations came as a shock to parents and church members who were not only operating under the impression that St. James was struggling to stay afloat in fiscally troubled waters, but also dealing with the aftershocks of tragedy. I hadn't read this part yet. In 2014, 4 people were killed, including a 6-year-old boy, when an intoxicated woman plowed into a crowd of people leaving a Christmas concert at St. James. We were an ATM. And people know it, and they won't ask for justice, Jack Alexander, a parent at St. James, told the Southern California News Group. They opened the account in 1997. So anyway, I found that kind of an interesting revelation. Pair of queens. Still a pair of queens. Two pair. Let's raise. Oh, I made somebody mad. Or no, they were mad before. Oh, yeah. Bring it on. What was the other question somebody had asked and I wanted to respond to? Charles, any more thoughts on a humanist page? Yeah. Let me inform that for everybody, or inform it. Let me give you some perspective. Shit, there's a straight. More and more of what I do these days, I do a lot in regard to atheism, but mostly I'm really about humanism. I'm interested in talking about not just what I don't believe in, which is any God anywhere, but what I do believe in, which is humanist values, helping people in need, creating opportunities where people can be liberated from superstitious change and be free to be themselves, to see, I hate to say, injustice reversed, but in a world where so much of the injustice is done with religious foundation to it. And we're talking about, how people are trying to use laws to inhibit the rights of LGBT people, or to keep women from being able to choose what happens with their own bodies, or trying to own the conversation about end of life or death with dignity issues, or sort of citing an Old Testament narrative when talking about the death penalty and an eye for an eye. I mean, these are all religious things that inform non-religious issues. And whenever we work to correct those things, we work to try to advocate for our fellow human beings. I think that's a natural next step for a great many of us. It's why we're making phone calls to people next week, to those who've had life challenges. It's why we're going to do something small and yet meaningful to try to improve the world for just a few people. And I'm not going to change the website to The Thinking Humanist. The website I like, decided I'm going to keep it because people continue to find us by searching atheist or atheism. They'll find the website and find our work. There continue to be people who are doubting or outright leaving religion every single day, all the time. And I want that to remain a resource for those people. But in my own work, I'm going to color the Thinking Atheist work and my own work at sethandrews.net and beyond with a little bit more in terms of humanism and being about human beings. And a lot of that is going to, I think that a lot of it, I think, is going to speak about the dehumanization of ideological opponents. That's what's on my mind these days. We went to go see last night in the theater the 25th anniversary re-release of the film Schindler's List. It's a powerful film. Now, I realize it's always going to be, to some degree, to some ratio, Hollywood. But it's also, I think, a reverent and respectful look back at man's inhumanity to man, and a way to document one of the worst chapters in human history. And, it should almost be required viewing, I think, for people. And we were driving home, and of course we're talking about, how does this happen? How do despots rise to power? How does an entire nation either embrace or rationalize or justify this type of bigotry? And there are, probably hundreds of different reasons playing into all these different scenarios playing in, but much of it, I think, has to do with the dehumanization of the Jews. And we can get into discussions about God's chosen people and why one people would be selected by God to be set off from the rest of people, the Gentiles. That's a whole other discussion. We can talk about God's choosing of these people and then sitting on his hands and doing absolutely nothing while 6 million of them are mercilessly slaughtered. That's a whole other conversation. But right now I'm talking about how one group of humans dehumanized another group. There's a scene in the film where Amon Goth says something like, he was talking to Betty, his maid. No, Helen. Betty. What kind of a name is Betty? Helen. And he said, you're not in the strictest sense a person. And that's it. That's the heart of it. They had become less than human. They are parasites. They are insects. They are an infestation. They are a virus. And I see, without hyperbole, I see shades of dehumanization in many of the conversations that we have online. When we see an avatar, and that avatar all of a sudden has next to it a comment that we disagree with, we jump in, we fight, we argue, we contradict, we immediately begin diminishing that person. It becomes not as much about allowing the best ideas to win and reaching out in an attitude of empathy and humanity, but about trying to make the other person look like less so that we might appear more. And, dangerous things happen when we depersonalize and dehumanize each other. If I am sitting across from a young earth creationist and we're having a coffee or breakfast or whatever, and I have done so, my conversation doesn't ever become, you stupid motherfucker. Oh, I guess I lost you for a second. The conversation remains human to human. The nature of the internet is to dehumanize in many, many cases, when we're talking to people that we don't yet know in an affectionate or personal way. And, this has to stop. Man, there'll always be a lowest common denominator. There'll always be people who, the keyboard warriors who sit in their basements and just escalate for the sake of escalation. You'll always find trolls. You'll always find the malcontents. But, Real people, everyday people, good people often get caught up in this nonsense. We start to lose ourselves. We start to lose our empathy and compassion. And then the sheer volume of these discussions, one after the other, makes us jaded and calloused. It thickens our skin in a way that should be alarming to us. You know, it dehumanizes us as we dehumanize others. And I really grieve over that. There have been threads on my own page. You know, I'll post something relatively innocuous, and people, they immediately start to chew each other to rip, and they're just awful, nasty to each other, nasty. Well, you're obviously an idiot, or you're this, or you're that, or whatever. And I'll just jump in and go, man, I wish we could be kinder to each other. And of course, there's a sect of people who will be like, well, I'll never be kind to a Nazi. You know, or I've spent all my kindness. I tried being kind. I'll never be kind to these people anymore. You know, they're eager to rationalize. I understand anger. Anger's fine. But, you know, at the end of the day, I sure would like to see all of us just take a freaking breath. I'm sorry to go off on that tangent. Forgive me. Amanda, I have a closet filled with black collared shirts. Ask my wife. She makes fun of me. I also have a ton of black T-shirts. I myself I don't like a lot of colored clothing. Isn't that weird? She'll make fun of me because we'll go to the store, right? Let's say I'm going on a speaking tour in the spring. So I'm going to pick out some clothes. And she'll pick out something that looks like a Mardi Gras parade float. I mean, it's you know, oh, look, it's bright orange and it has paisleys on it. You know, you could land aircraft with this shirt, okay? And I will be like, I'm not wearing that. And I'll see something that's in black, and I'll be, oh, I like the look of that. And she'll just shake her head, like, what's wrong with you? You know, you need more color in your life. And I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. I like the color black. This is a true story. When I was in my 20s, I worked in retail. I remember, you know, I would wear a black shirt and black slacks every day. And people would say I was in perpetual mourning, or that I was trying to be Johnny Cash, the man in black. So I have a lot of black shirts. It's true. You're very observant, by the way. First place. I finished third. Let's go back to full screen for a few and talk to each other. Are you guys doing okay? Yeah, the Breaking Bad shirt is black. I've got a couple of tennis shirts. I actually bought several of the same shirt. It's a dry shirt that you can play tennis in, and it's black, kind of a charcoal black. I've got I have a lot of black shirts. I just, you know, I don't look good in colors, like bright colors. I don't like the way I look. So, yeah. There was somebody else, I think, who had asked something. Would you like me to play another hand, or do you want to just chat? Someone's going to have to tell me what you'd like to chat about. Henry is sound asleep in my lap, and fortunately, he has not coughed once. We can just keep him relaxed and keep him so that he's not, you know, like if someone rings the doorbell, he's going to bark and get agitated, and that exacerbates the problem. If I say certain words that cause excitement, like H-U-N-G-R-Y, and Henry cannot yet spell, so he's not saying anything or barking. T-R-E-A-T is another one. SNACK, that's one that gets him going. Do you want to go in the CAR? That'll send him over the edge. He gets excited about travel. There may be another one, so we have to guard our language because he is a, he knows. He knows. Let's see. All right, I'm taking first, and then I'm going to probably have to get to work. First place, you and me. Let's go. I'm going to rub Henry here, my good luck charm. All right, pal. You're my good luck charm. You brought me so much goodness, Henry. He has too. That dog just rescued me right back. Natalie and I were talking philosophically about, the fact that the animals live a finite, we all live a finite amount of time, but, you're looking at, for little dogs, usually between 12 and maybe 15 years. And he's 12. And we were talking about the price you pay for love. The heartbreak of losing someone, or a family animal, family pet. That's this is the price you pay for love. And you have to focus on the love part. So, he's brought so much good. I mean, I'd never not rescue him because he, he's my little guy. And Rat Dog too. She's not a rescue, but they sneak up on you. Michelle, I'm sorry my play frustrates you, but I'm a shit poker player and I'm distracted because I'm monologuing. But we're going to win. We're taking first because we have a mission. And I've got pocket aces, so watch this. Watch this. We're going to slow play to begin. See if I can reel somebody in. Give me an ace on the flop, baby. Give me an ace on the flop. Now, someone's going to have a pair of kings, and they're going to get cocky, so I'm going to slow play. No, I'm going to bet. Let's bet half. Is this bad strategy? Are they reeling me in? Is that what's going on? Shit. Okay. Shit. I don't think they have it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Was that absurdly frustrating, Michelle? Huh? Because I think it was pretty amazing. I'm distracted, and I'm a shit poker player. I'll tell you, but I'm on fire. Look at my little avatar. You see that? I'm on fire. I don't even have God whispering in my ear telling me how to play. I'm not like the nuns who stole the $500,000 and took it to Vegas. Like, it doesn't say what they played in Vegas. Was it craps? Like, craps to me, I can't figure out. Like the whole game. There are pieces of it I understand, but there are pieces of the game that I don't get. You got odd or even or this number or that number, the come line, is too complicated. Blackjack, love blackjack. And I'm too much of a coward to play actual poker for money in Las Vegas. But I mean, what were they playing? What was their game? I picture them at the poker or the blackjack table, and they're not in their nun. What do they call the nun uniform? Is it called? What's it called? It's not a habit. Is it a habit? I'll play. Shit. pair of threes. So, right, they are nuns, and then they get up in whatever. Like they get dressed up in their party clothes, you know, like you're going to Vegas, like it's party time. Hey, give me a Manhattan. They're ordering from the bar, and the music plays, and maybe they got a cigarette there. Oh yeah. This is gonna be a great ad. I'll put 500 over here. I just picture that, and then when they're done, they spray themselves with air freshener so nobody smells the smoke. And then they go back and put their nun clothes on, and they start teaching the little children again. I just conjured up an amazing mental image. I would have had 2 pair, but I don't want to risk it. Someone's got straight. But we'll never know, will we? I wish there wasn't as much of a time delay. There's a few second delay here because honestly, Amanda, smartass, is it you? No, Michelle, I would have you play the hand. Like I would tell you, or actually you would tell me, I would ask you, you would tell me how to play the hand. But there's too much of a delay and I can't get away with it. They would remove me from the hand for delay. So now I have to channel my inner Michelle. I have to align my chakras, center my chi, and I have to embrace the sacred aura. Have you guys heard of sacred geometry? Sacred geometry, it's a thing. I saw somebody who had posted, like for sale, some icon representing the sacred geometry. What the hell is sacred geometry? Somebody look it up and paste it in the comment section. Like if it's the first paragraph of a wiki page or something. You know what? I've got a second. I'll do it. Pair of 5s. Outside flush draw. Check. Shh. I don't think he's got the king. I really don't. I won, but I don't really feel a sense of satisfaction. You're not going to teach me poker here on Facebook. I can't shorthanded raise any 2 cards on the button and don't let anyone see the free flop on your BB. That sounds naughty. Don't let anyone see a free flop on your BB. Big blind. It's not dirty. Thank you. It's flop and BB. It's the internet. Shit, you've got that queen, don't you? I'm not going to chance it. I've been trying. Here's what I've been trying to come up with, Amanda. There's a game on Jackbox Party called Drawful. And you use your phones and your finger, to draw pictures, and you try to guess the pictures. It sounds a little bit lame when I describe it because I'm not describing it very well. But the fact that you aren't drawing very well, the fact that it's your finger, and the pictures are uniformly hysterical, makes it one of the best games to play with a group. It's a great party game. We play it at my house all the time. We'll just put it up on the TV, and it's a ball. And I'm trying to organize to get the God-Awful Movies guys, Heath Enright, No Illusions, Eli Bosnick, to join me to play a game of Drawful for charity. The problem is that I thought I was busy. These guys are nearly impossible to pin down. I mean, you got to get all 3 of them. You got to get the schedule plus all the other work that they're doing. It has been, to date, impossible, and I've been working on them for about 6 months. But I mean, imagine Eli Bosnick, No Illusions, Heath Enright of God Awful Movies, and we're all playing Drawful. Maybe grab, I don't know, let's grab another activist and have them make it a 5 or maybe even 6 people. I think that would be just a total kick. And we would you want to try to play Drawful here, like on Facebook? How would we organize that so that everybody could find the same room? Would I give you the room code? You would just see the room code and everybody who wants to could just log on? Oh, God, we should totally do that. What time is it? It's about time for me to get to work. I've got much to do. I'm a shit poker player. What about this is news to you? I don't think you've got the ace. I'm going in. You're not going to be on fire after this hand, baby. Now we could have a 5 or an ace. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Philip, it's good to see you, my friend. Happy retailing. I'm going to win this table or lose this table. I got to be done. But I think let's try Drawful. Would this be a good time to try this? Maybe we could try tomorrow, in fact. And I'll just put the room code up and you can pull out your phone and go for it. God, that'd be a total kick. Does that meet with your approval, Michelle? And you're going to have to pronounce that last name for me. Byzantite? Like when you sneeze? 10. It's Jack, 10, King, Queen. I need not that. See, I don't think they have it, but Drawful. Maybe I'll try. Maybe if I take a break this afternoon, I'm preparing a show. I'm doing a show with Hector Garcia. We're going to talk again about the origins of dominant male gods. It's something we covered a while back. I narrated his audiobook called Alpha God. The religious. Oh, what's the subtitle? The religious. It's not origins of violence and oppression. But it's such a fertile topic that we're going to talk about it again. I mean, to get into, why so many of these ancient gods are specifically male and have the attributes of higher primates, or primates in general, male primates, right? They're jealous, they're territorial, they're obsessed with owning, abducting, cloistering females. You get into the evolution of how and why these sort of tribes or groups are attractive to primates, and you can just see the reflection in these gods created by our ancestors. You can see the reflection of primate thinking. And it's a really fascinating conversation. So we're going to get into a lot of the psychology of belief, the psychology into the constructing of those gods. So anyway, I'm putting together that. I'm preparing for that. I've got to make some charity phone calls today. I'm getting ready or preparing for an interview I'm going to do with John Delancey, who is Q from Star Trek. And he played Donald Margolis from Breaking Bad, and he's been in a shit ton of other shows. 2 pair, ace high. Okay, with only $3,200, I need to break a guy who's got almost 12. So I'm going to play aggressively. Pair of sixes. I think this guy's full of crap. I think you're full of crap, pal. Oh, shit. Oh, my goodness. Never take me to Vegas to play poker. Never. Don't ever do it. You can take me to Vegas, just don't take me to play poker. I'm going to dig into the production schedule, my friends, and but I might check in this afternoon. Maybe we'll try some drawful. That sounds like that'd be a lot of fun. And I know I'm going to be taking a break at some point anyway. So, what time is it now? 10:41. I will set an alarm to remind me. Let's go at 2 o'clock Central. Meet me here on Facebook, and we'll... Oh, shit, with the delay, it may not work. Does Facebook have a reduction of delay in the streaming options? In other words, I think there may be a good 15 seconds on from when I send the signal up to when it is... when it's actually seen on Facebook. There's enough of a drift that it will inhibit your ability to draw pictures. I wonder if there's an option to be able to reduce the amount of delay so that it's more real time. I will do my homework. Regardless, I think we can probably pull it off. What'd I say, 2 o'clock? All right, alarm. Alarm. Because I have no memory. I'm the guy who walks into the room and says, why did I walk in this room? I will set an alarm for 2 o'clock, a little bit before 2 o'clock. And we'll rendezvous here, and I'll see if I can set up some drawful. That sounds like a party. In the meantime, I'll see you next time.